Bingo Blitz rules!
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini-games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Discover a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
Hi, this is Rob Benedict.
And I am Richard Spate. We were both on a little show you might know called Supernatural.
It had a pretty good run, 15 seasons, 327 episodes.
And though we have seen, of course, every episode many times, we figured, hey, now that we're wrapped, let's watch it all again.
And we can't do that alone, so we're inviting the cast and crew that made the show along for the ride. We've got writers, producers, composers, directors, and we'll of course have some actors on as well, including some certain guys that played some certain pretty iconic brothers.
It was kind of a little bit of a left field choice in the best way possible.
The note from Kripke was, he's great, we love him, but we're looking for like a really intelligent Duchovny type.
With 15 seasons to explore, it's going to be the road trip of several lifetimes. So please join us and subscribe to Supernatural Then and Now.
The accident in the lab, the quantum bombardment, you believe that altered you physically?
You could say that.
Can you tell us how?
Even if I could, you wouldn't understand.
But it has something to do with dark matter.
It has everything to do with dark matter. My shadow isn't mine. It's like a black hole. It splits molecules into component atoms. It unzips electrons from their orbits, reduces matter into pure energy.
And welcome to the eX-Files. That's the eX-Files, a buffering rewatch adventure where we are watching and discussing every episode of the eX-Files one by one, spoiler-free. Darkness covers a multitude of sins. I'm Jenny Owen Young's ex-wife of Kristin Russo, and I grew up watching the eX-Files.
And I've heard a lot about you. I'm Kristin Russo. I'm the ex-wife of Jenny Owen Young's. I've only ever seen 47 episodes of the eX-Files, and today, hey, we're talking about season 2, episode 23, Soft Light. Not Hard Light, Soft Light. You know, I recently re-listened to the Angel on Top gals cover Carpe Noctem and remembered Carpe Noctem, an episode of Angel. And was reminded, Jenny, sorry to bring it to soft and hard so quickly, but was reminded that when they do the teasers, the episode teasers, they have like subtitles, and it was Carpe Hardum and Carpe Softum was. So I am so sorry. That is so specific and whatever, but I just heard them talking about it, and so it was in my brain.
I pulled a backup line for you that you did not deploy, so I'm going to tell you what it was. I was hoping you were going to say, the last time I helped you, I bloodied my fist and regrettably exposed my identity to associates of yours. I'm Kristin Russo.
I actually had a second, though I don't remember what it was, but when I get there, I'll know.
Well, listen, Soft Light was written by Vince Gilligan, okay?
Okay.
You know, of Breaking Bad fame.
Yeah.
Among others. And directed by James A. Contner, who we know from many episodes of Buffy. Mm-hmm. It originally aired on May 5th, 1995.
Wow.
Cinco de Mayo.
Just 4 days before my sister's 9th birthday.
Listen.
Sorry.
Are we going to do that? Are we going to...
No, it's just...
Expand, extend the universe?
I was like, wow, her birthday. How the fuck old was she when this was on? Okay, so I want to read from LaToya's notes here. This is one of the few scripts to come from outside the X-Files staff. That's a quote from X-Files Confidential. LaToya notes, this author clearly doesn't get that this had to have been one of the mandatory freelance episodes of the season. This is the norm for TV shows, which is why you'll see some episodes of shows, including this show and, for example, Passion from Buffy, with credits from writers who only ever wrote one episode but weren't on staff. Funnily enough, in the case of the X-Files, the rare women who were around were on staff, so Chris Carter could say he was doing more than the bare minimum. These days, that freelance requirement tends to be filled by throwing support staffers, so writer's assistant, script coordinator, showrunner's assistant a bone, and letting them write or co-write the episode. That way it's actually kept in-house as opposed to truly outsourcing. So I thought that was interesting because I feel like I've heard that maybe one time but didn't really retain it, and I wanted to put it into the universe. Vince Gilligan, welcome to the show. This is the one, in case you don't know, by the title Soft Light, where Scully's former student, smug bitch, Detective Kelly Ryan, so she's outbeat. She's not
Whoa.
She asks for the agents to help her catch a runaway government scientist responsible for several mysterious disappearances. Fact check, she actually asks them to help her with a missing persons case, but okay. She definitely didn't know all of that when she asked them to help. Mulder realizes that the man is deathly afraid of his shadow for some reason.
Special agent and producer LaToya Ferguson gives this episode a scary ranking of 1 out of 5 shadows cast. LaToya writes, so right off the bat, I was already not scared because of the fire score under Tony Shalhoub's scenes. Seriously, it was a bop. Then I realized that Shalhoub was basically doing a non-scary proto-version of what Vincent D'Onofrio ended up doing in Men in Black. So it was good acting from Shalhoub, but D'Onofrio was just on some freak shit that Shalhoub wasn't touching. Also, I note this acknowledging Shalhoub also ended up being in Men in Black. He was never moist, which I think contributed to the lack of scariness. He was too dry to be scary. It makes sense. I mean it. And then the explanation for the shadow came. And it was a comic book origin story complete with a particle accelerator. I'm sure there's a world where the shadow, no relation, is scary and makes for a scary X-File, but it's not in this episode with this origin story. Maybe if Shalhoub's Banton had fallen into a vat of something, that could have led to spookies.
I had so much to text LaToya after I read her scary ranking. First of which was he was too dry to be scary, because I was like, I really need to start compiling a list of LaToya-isms from the production notes, because there's some real gems. And the second is that I actually lied to everyone. I've actually watched the next episode. I know it's against the law, but I will say
law.
I told LaToya that she will have wished that she never, ever asked for someone to fall into a vat of something.
Because it's real.
It's really something. So I'm gonna, I think LaToya may have just made that happen, manifested it.
Yeah.
We have you to blame, LaToya, for next week's vat. Okay. Big thoughts on this episode.
Having fun.
Yeah.
I'm having fun.
Yeah, me too. I'm having fun. And, the only thing that could take that fun away is going to a poultry plant. That's where we're going next week. So let's enjoy scientists.
Enjoy it while you can.
Yeah, let's enjoy scientists and labs and Tony Shalhoub. So Tony Shalhoub, a lot of people are like, Monk, that's probably his most known role. But I know Tony Shalhoub from
Or more
Wings.
recently on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Oh, I didn't see The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. But I know him from Wings. Jenny, did you watch Wings as a kid?
I did, but I don't remember him. In fact, I'm looking at pictures, stills of him right now on Wings, and I'm like, who is this guy? And also, has he been the same age for was he the same age for a very long time?
100,000 years. Yes, 100,000 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved Wings. If you have never seen Wings, I can only tell you what my 11-year-old self, I don't know. When do you have Wings up? When was it on?
Wings, thanks so much for asking, ran from 1990 to 1997.
Okay, so I was 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. Wow. I didn't watch it in my late teens, but as a child, I watched it and I loved it. It took place in an, as you might be able to put together, an airplane hangar, like an airport.
Yep.
There was a flight attendant and a pilot.
Yeah. Brothers?
Yes, they were. I think they were brothers.
Yeah. And then a hot, dumb mechanic, question mark?
Okay. Or maybe was one brother a mechanic and one a pilot?
Well, I think Thomas Hayden Church is the mechanic.
Yeah, some hot men, some hot ladies, just trying to fly planes and getting into all kinds of trouble, you know?
This is yet another, actually, as I say yet another, I'm not sure if I've proven that there was one to begin with, but this shares some DNA with a show I've been singing the praises of to you, Twisted Metal, because Thomas Hayden Church is a major player in that series.
All right.
Kristin, it's adapted from a video game. Nav Campbell is in it. Stephanie Beatriz is in it.
Okay, Twisted Metal, yes.
Right. But we're here to talk about the X-Files, I guess.
Wings, yes. But today, Agatha all along, yes. But today,
Tony Shalhoub.
I texted Joanna this morning about Agatha all along. Don't worry, I won't spoil anything except for the fact that I said.
Did she say which stuff go?
Yeah. But I said I have to go back to the X-Files where there are no lesbians and no witches and no lesbian witches. And she said, you should just watch the X-Files and pretend that Mulder is a lesbian who is hot for Scully. And I said, that is not a stretch. So
that's not even a shrug.
It's right there for us. It's literally right there.
Okay, so maybe he's too dry to be scary, but in this opening scene, Tony Shalhoub is careening quite sweatily down this hallway.
Yeah, he's upset. I watched the episode the first time, came back to take my notes and was like, who the fuck is Morris? And we don't learn till the very end that Morris. So I had to watch it twice to get to the who the fuck is Morris answer, which is like another guy that worked at the lab. He's looking for Morris. He's speaking to Morris through the door. He says, Gail Ann is dead. And he backs up. And as he backs up, his shadow also, as shadows do.
Can we this is a pretty dim hallway. And that is a pretty small crack under the door. I just feel like
it's from the light that he turns off. It's not from the light under the door.
No, I know, but like in order for that light,
it has to get under the right
Chester's shadow under the little bitty crack beneath the door. There's just some shadow physics that I feel like is getting kind of hand-waved away.
I'm gonna give, for once in my fucking life, I'm gonna give some space to the X-Files on the shadow stuff. There actually is a quote in LaToya's notes, which I had thought about even before I read about it. This is JP Finn who's saying this is a tough show from the point of view of visual effects. That was the technical challenge there. It's very tough to light a show in an interesting way while not having the actor cast a shadow. And I think that this extends to like, how do you make something look beautiful but also have shadows killing people, and then times when you cannot have shadows at all? That's
and how can you, like, how do you decide how much of a shadow is enough for it to be a black hole? And then the soft light, it's like, okay, this degree of shadow will not swallow you or incinerate you or whatever.
Yes, high contrast shadows.
Unzip your electrons. Kristin, unzip your electrons for once in your life.
I refuse. I am keeping my electrons zipped. Thank you very much.
Okay, so what's the word we're gonna use for what this does? I guess we could just say this man gets unzipped. I've got like gooped, I've got burnt, I've got
unzipped.
Black holed. But unzipped is pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty.
This seems like a really good reminder to keep your fucking nose out of other people's business, because if this guy hadn't gone to the hallway to eavesdrop,
I mean,
he never would have gotten unzipped. Having been said, it's possible that he was concerned about the safety of the people involved, and therefore, you know.
That's what I think. I mean, he let it be for longer than I think I would have let it be before.
Well, he had some scotch, so.
Yeah, he did. The concept of this episode, I really like. The blue light is just a casualty from it being 1995, because it would have been, I think, so much more effective without any light at all. Like with it just being sort of like this black hole that pulls somebody down. LaToya had somewhere in her notes talking about the scene from scenes from Ghost, you know, where the evil that comes down or those like shadows that move through. You remember from Ghost? Jenny, you have to remember.
Oh, yeah. I haven't seen Ghost since I was like a kid, but now because they kind of like swirl about.
Yeah, they like come down, they kind of look like people, but then they don't, and they're really fucking creepy. And I feel like, you know, something like along those lines probably would have been more effective than having this blue light, which just immediately made me feel like I was in Alex Mack or something, you know, on a Nickelodeon show.
You know, I may come to regret saying this, but today, on the day of this taping, right now, in the month of October, in the year 2024, on planet Earth, I'm so glad I'm not a ghost.
Why?
Just, you know, based on what I've learned from film and television, when you're a ghost, you know, it's like hard to affect things. Mm-hmm. You might just be completely intangible. I'm going to guess, not that this is something I would ever do or think about, but I'm going to guess that ghosts probably can't like have sex.
I don't know.
Not that I would ever think about that or do it.
Oh, I guess it's Mist in Dracula that has sex with Winona Ryder, not a ghost.
Yeah. He's still Dracula. He's just Mist
but ghost sex is definitely a thing.
Do you think, like, what do you... Yeah, you know what? Actually, there's probably like physics to it that like or metaphysics that we can't possibly even conceive of because we are not ghosts. So you know what? Yeah. I'm looking forward to learning a lot more when I eventually become a ghost.
I think the thing about being a ghost that I don't love the idea of is if I couldn't untether myself. Like if it were my decision to hang around. You were trapped
forever. You just want control.
I want control. Surprise.
It's shocking. But what about eating? Ghosts, we assume, can't eat.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
But maybe they do something else that transcends eating, again, in a way that we can't possibly understand.
My brain, I just want, this is not even worth anyone's time except for to understand or not understand what the fuck happens in my brain. You said they can't eat. And the first thing that my brain said to me was, maybe they can lick wallpaper like they do in Willy Wonka. What? Why?
Yeah, that's a big what from me too, dog.
That is a leap. My brain went right from they can't eat, but maybe they can lick some snozberries on the wallpaper. What the fuck is happening in my mind?
I don't care for that.
Anyway, the last shot, I found the last shot of the cold open a little bit like misleading. I don't know if I can say that it definitely is, but it's like just a shot of a shadow. And it, to me, when I first watched it, it seemed like there was a shadow at play, like on its own, you know, but it's not. It's Tony Shalhoub / Dr. Ban's shadow. Jenny has been playing with this wrap of some, what is it called?
It's called a buff. I have a survivor buff. Leave me alone.
You need to put it down. You must put it down. I cannot focus on the task at hand if you keep wrapping and unwrapping your arm in a survivor buff.
Okay.
Can't do it.
Sorry. Oh boy. Were you excited to learn in this episode? Sorry, I'm like really delaying our sort of like chronological progress here, but were you excited to learn that there is a second fictional tobacco brand in this universe?
Oh yeah. LaToya said, and I would not have even looked it up, but LaToya said that the second fictional brand is likely a nod to the cigarette brand in The Simpsons. Laramie Tobacco is the other brand. So Morley, we know well. We know Morley. Spike smokes Morley's. Cigarette Smoking Man smokes Morley's. And Laramie Tobacco is likely an homage to the fictional tobacco company featured in The Simpsons, which is very fun. The Simpsons is like on my, when you turn your like Apple TV on or whatever and it scrolls through and it's like now streaming season 35. And I'm like, holy fucking
disturbing
shit. That is unbelievable. Like, do we all
That
realize?
must be wrong. That must be a mistake.
35 seasons. All right. So after the credits, we go to the elevator doors opening and, Scully is saying that this is a third abduction, that Kelly Ryan has called her in because they've hit a wall on these missing people, these abducted people.
Kristin, did you notice that this whole little walk and talk was shot just a little bit cockeyed?
Ooh, no. That's kind of cool.
It is cool. It like feels just like a little bit. It just like feels like a sort of like visual language kind of like ooh kind of thing.
That's very fun. There's a couple of shots. There's one. It's not this elevator shot, but when they get back in the elevator, I think there's this incredible shot where like they follow them in. The camera stops before they get into the elevator. The elevator door starts closing, and Scully turns around so we can see her face just before the elevator door closes. It's just like a beautiful shot.
Sick.
So yeah, good
James.
job,
Beautiful work. This woman who was Scully's student is a detective.
Yeah, she's heard a lot about Mulder.
This is Mulder. We'll talk later.
Yeah. The guy that got killed, his name is Patrick Neuwirth. He was an executive, like Jenny said, at Morley Tobacco. He missed his wake-up call. The door was locked. This is amazing. This is one of my favorite things to ever happen in an episode of The X-Files. Door was locked. Windows were locked. No one's there. How could he possibly have gotten in? Scully immediately squats down to look at the fucking heat register and is like, And Kelly's like, no one could have possibly gotten through there. And all of us at home are like, yeah, they could. Have you heard of Eugene Toombs?
Yeah. Big wink.
Amazing.
Immediately upon seeing the burn on the ground, Mulder's like, does this look like an arm to anybody? He's like doing that for the whole episode.
Yeah.
Mulder has entered his precognitive or telepathic or just omniscient era.
But like the way he cycles, he has like the X-Files Rolodex, and he just like and is like, I think it's spontaneous. One of my other favorite parts about this episode is like he's like spontaneous combustion, and then Scully like 10 minutes later is like, it's spontaneous combustion. He's like, no, it's not
sure anymore.
We've moved on, my dear Dana.
Yeah, try to keep up, Dana.
Yeah. Okay, so he's so embarrassing. I feel like Scully all the time when I watch this man, because he can't just be cool. He has to be like, does this look like a hand? And he like holds his hand out to like align with the fingers.
Yep.
And he's right, of course, like everything we know because
like,
we've seen it. He's right.
This burn mark is right where I'd be if I was looking out the peephole, and I wouldn't be looking out the peephole if there wasn't something to look at. Detective Ryan is like, that makes sense. And Scully gives her this look that is the biggest don't encourage him vibe I have ever seen.
This is
he
where
immediately clocks the unscrewed bulb.
This really starting to like gel into Jenny as Mulder, Kristin as Scully. Like these,
I mean,
don't encourage him is like my mantra, don't encourage her. But yet you all do. You all just keep encouraging her.
Because I am actually well loved.
Uh-huh.
I'm, as I've told you many times, many people's favorite part of the podcast.
Favorite,
Kristin.
yes. Okay, so Kelly Ryan, by the way, this actor is doing like, and I don't know if she just is like sort of Jodie Foster adjacent or if she's like really leaning into the Jodie Foster of it all, but I just feel like the way she delivers her lines is so specifically Jodie Foster in Silence of the Lambs. And I start out, spoilers for the episode, I start out liking Kelly Ryan, and then I'm really annoyed with Kelly Ryan. But then Kelly Ryan dies, so I have complicated feelings about the arc of Kelly Ryan.
Listen, it's okay to be annoyed by someone who's dead.
Yeah, I mean, my feelings, I can hold more than one feeling, right?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Where does the phrase "at first blush" come from?
I'm so glad you asked, Kristin.
Because it feels like none of my business, you know, but like...
No, totally. So this phrase dates back to the 1300s.
Whoa.
The noun blush is used with the obsolete meaning glimpse or momentary view.
Oh.
And in this idiom has nothing to do with showing embarrassment.
Huh. Well, right. And that's, I mean, he doesn't say it like that either.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I know. I think that this is just like clarifying sort of the meaning and the usage. Yeah. So it's just like at first sight.
Okay.
Basically.
So it is my business. Okay, great.
Yeah. Congrats on having business.
Love that. Okay. Scully keeps trying to get smuggest bitch, and I like really applaud her efforts. And she keeps getting out smugged or out bitched or both. But they go back to the elevator, and the spontaneous combustion theory has been thrown out by Mulder, and she says, okay, let's just forget that there's no scientific theory to support that. Mulder goes, okay, and gets in the elevator. Incredible. I love the progression of their relationship. She looks at him like, oh my God, so we're here now? Okay. Oh fucking K. Okay. This is that shot with the elevator doors closing, and then they go to Maggie's house. She didn't tell me that I could call her Maggie, but she's dead, so I'm calling her Maggie.
Whoa.
Maggie Wabanahkik's house. Mulder. Another bulb is out. What are the fucking odds? Probably high, actually.
Can you spare a prophylactic for a man in need, Dana?
Oh, my goodness. And then we get the poem that you've already given us at the top. Darkness covers a multitude of sins, says Dana Scully. She's not letting Mulder be the only poet on the show, and I like that. He has a little fucking like red light that
he paid $49.95 for.
It's a lot of money in 1995. Scully again going in for smug bitch. Neat trick for your birthday. I'll buy you a utility belt.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay, so yeah, this is where we find out Maggie also worked in tobacco at Laramie. She took a train on the same day she disappeared. The man from the hotel, Newworth, also came in on a train. Mulder reasons maybe these people are being hunted and the hunter is working the train station. Scully asks, what happened to spontaneous human combustion? Mulder, maybe it's not so spontaneous.
Mulder slaps on the desk. Ever heard of intentional combustion, Scully? Shout out to the
premeditated.
Shout out to the most 1990s kitchen I've seen so far on the show. These cream cabinets with the like honeywood piping. That's not what you call it on cabinets, but you know what I mean. Okay, so they tell Kelly to get some people over to the train. Tony's there. My first note at the Richmond train station is Tony Shalhoub is so good. He especially watching this a second time, because like the first time, you know, you're sort of like putting it together. So you don't catch all of the things he's doing in like that first scene at the hotel and then in the train, as somebody who is terrified that if his shadow is cast and touches somebody, it will kill them. And it's so great to watch him do it when you know what he's doing, because he's great. He's he's so good.
Oh gosh, he's chased by the police. They get him cornered. He's like, I'm warning you, I'm a dangerous man. But one of them steps into his shadow and gets unzipped. And then the other one also promptly gets unzipped.
He's so upset. Also, at this point in my watch, I had a question. What if he had like, first I said a pocket full of sunflower seeds, and then I was like, no, I think that to be unzipped, you have to be alive, right? So what if he just kept a pocket full of crickets? And so then if people came near him, he could just toss a cricket into the shadow. It would get a little zip. It would zip the cricket, and then it would unzip the cricket. And then he could say, so don't do that, you know?
I have a question about what if he has a big blanket and he puts it over himself like a ghost costume. Does the shadow of the ghost costume also unzip people, or does it have to be direct Tony Shalhoub silhouette?
Yeah, like if he's wearing
situation?
a 10-gallon hat or whatever gallons.
Oh yeah, true.
You know,
what are the rules? We don't know, and we'll never know. So never mind.
Never mind. In the morning, Kelly has taken a turn. She's asked them to come help her. They've helped her. She's mad, and she's mad because 2 cops have died. And of course, we know, cops they're mildly impacted when regular folks are killed, but when cops are killed, it's a big deal. So these are 2 cops. Now it looks like she's involved in a cop killer case. They want to know why I sent these men down here, and I say, couldn't she just tell them the same reason that they had asked her to say? Couldn't she have said she sent those men down there because 2 of the already missing people were last seen at the train station? That feels like there's an answer for you, Kelly, and you don't have to blame the FBI who you called there to help you. She's feeling, listen, I understand. She's feeling upset. I just feel like she takes it all out on Mulder and Scully, and it's not fair.
We're only trying to help.
And we're only trying to help. Why aren't Tony Shalhoub's fingerprints in the national database? Who knows?
Yeah, I feel like if you work with like particle acceleration, it seems like,
the shadow, once like maybe his fingerprints changed when he was turned into dark matter.
That could be. Also, okay, I feel like people who aren't us probably know more about this, which is a sentence I could say about just about anything. But I feel like when I was like in elementary school and we got fingerprinted like right away, I feel like that was like a relatively new thing. So if Polarity Magnetics was a private company, which we believe it was, it actually doesn't.
Yeah, I guess not
mean
everyone
that they'd
is
be
in the national database. Okay, that makes sense. But I am, and you are.
Yeah, police officers are, children from the late 80s and beyond are.
The cataloging has gotten quite intense, actually. But Tony Shalhoub is perhaps off the radar. So Mulder and Scully get back in the car, and Mulder's like, listen, something we can do is we can look through the videotapes because we know that there are 3 days where this guy might be there. Scully's
like, women can be unzippers too.
Circus performers and women can murder. Scully's just like, stop letting men do all the murder, everyone.
Yeah. The 3 genders, men, women, and circus performers is what it felt like you were asserting.
Yeah, I know. When I said that, I was like, there are men who are circus performers. The Venn diagram, the overlap does exist. Okay, again, Scully, so annoyed. She should have a sack of sunflower seeds in the back of this scene, just like chomping away. She doesn't want to be there. She thinks this is a wild goose chase. But then, what does Mulder say, Jenny? He sees Banton, sitting in the lobby, and he says to the man working the controls.
I'll tell you what he says, Kristin. He says,
holy hocus pocus, get it into focus. Enhance. A simple incantation to bring illumination. Enhance.
Zoom in, refine. Crop to just the logo on the jacket. Polarity Magnetics.
The fact that Polarity Magnetics, they made the choice to have their logo when they walk into the building be a shadow is a really fucking cool choice. That is cool and smart, and I like it. Good job, everybody. One thing, what is your face doing?
I just looked up the origin of wild goose chase.
Wild goose chase,
I do know. This idiom originally referred to a form of 16th century horse racing, requiring riders to follow a leader in a particular formation, presumably resembling a flock of geese in flight. Its figurative use dates from about 1600.
Oh my God, so it has nothing to do with geese?
Well,
I mean, there are no geese involved, I should say.
Correct.
Wild.
Geese are being emulated, but they're not present.
I wanted to say before we left that last scene in the train station and we go to polarity magnetics, that Mulder was sitting where Banton was sitting, and he's sort of like looking at the floor and like trying to figure out like why Banton was doing that. And Scully is also like doing this like dig throughout the episode, but I think most in this moment at like either mental illness or houselessness or both. Like she's like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? And he's like, well, I was just trying to figure out like why he might have been like sitting there looking at his hands. And she's like, maybe for the same reason he spends all day at the train station. And I'm like, Scully, I'm not so sure, ma'am.
Ma'am?
I think you might
settle yourself.
Yeah, just expand. You know, we have the enhanced jingle for when images are enhanced. We need the expand jingle for Scully and her horizons.
Indeed.
Okay, so Dr. Davy, this actor I think does a great job of convincing the viewer that he's totally just a chill guy. Like there's really only one scene that they put there on purpose where he's listening to Mulder and Scully where you get the idea that maybe he's not a good guy. He does a great job. He's a good actor and also his character is a good actor. Christopher
Davy gives them the kind of the rundown that Chester did a little particle accelerator experiment and he needed to make a last minute change and accidentally got locked in the chamber, which led to his shadow being burnt into the wall. Sure.
So they go in and let's hear this clip when Mulder's so excited. I mean, you know, is it an alien? He's excited. Is it a shadow burned into a wall? He's excited. Let's hear.
Look at this.
As far as I can tell, burned Chester's shadow right into the wall.
How did he survive?
All I can figure is the quanta liberated off the target have virtually no mass, that they slid right through his body.
Like getting an X-ray.
A 2 billion megawatt X-ray. When I looked at the monitor and saw what was happening, that Chester was trapped in here, I panicked. I cut the power, but it was too late. I remember looking and seeing Chester. He was perfectly calm. Almost like he wanted it to happen. Like he was finally going to experience the dark matter he had theorized in some kind of physical way. As if the truth might come into him. Excuse me.
Wow, Davy.
My word.
Wow, Dr. Davy. Really laying it on. And I mean, I'm sorry. Like he was finally going to experience the dark matter he had theorized in some kind of physical way. That sounds sexy.
Yeah, I was going to say, fellas, is it gay?
Yeah, it sounds a little sexy. This is when Scully is like, wait, maybe it's spontaneous combustion. And Mulder's like, keep up. We've passed that. On to the next page. Davy is listening outside to them discussing this. And then we're back at the train station.
Mulder, while staring down from the bench at his own shadow, almost immediately clocks the diffused soft light of the train station. And then Chester appears. Mulder, with absolutely zero chill, is like, Dr. Banton!
I know,
across
like,
the Great Hall.
He would not have known who the fuck they were. They could have just played it cool, you know?
I know.
Not these guys.
I know, but then there's a big chase. They run out into the train yard. They corner him. Mulder almost touches his shadow. And Chester's like, don't! And Mulder, unlike the police officers before him, is like, yes, okay, cool. We'll listen to that. And then he shoots the lights out. Bing, boom. Sister Mary Margaret, who, if you do not recall, is our FBI informant. I have a question. If an FBI agent discharges their weapon, do they, like Kevin on Yellow Jackets, have to account for every bullet that is fired? And if they were brought in unofficially on a case and were just running around shooting out the lights at a train station, would they get in trouble?
Daddy's gonna be mad.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed this, Jenny, but there's another scene, another moment in this scene before they run out to the train station that really drives home the you as Mulder and Mia Scully point. Scully is talking. Mulder listens to not one single
hell yeah, Mulder.
word that she says. He's like, I don't even know what the fuck she says. She says all this stuff, and he looks up and he goes, "The light is soft." And I was like, well, now I can really relate.
That does sound like me.
Yeah. Okay, so we're at the psychiatric center.
Smoking in the hospital.
Smoking in the train station.
Unbelievable.
Smoking in the hospital. Let's fucking go. You better enjoy it because you've only got a few years where they take it all away. So the instructions were to keep him in the dark, but the doctor says he insisted on soft light. And we started with the first part of this exchange, right? Banton is basically saying, it does have to do with dark matter. My shadow isn't mine. It's like a black hole. It splits molecules into component atoms, and to Jenny's choice of what we call it, it unzips electrons from their orbits and reduces matter into pure energy.
Okay, I feel like I want to urge LaToya to reconsider just based on the chilling nature of the sentence, my shadow isn't mine. That's scary. Imagine if your shadow wasn't yours.
No, fuck you. I don't want to.
Yeah. I hope there's some soft light over there in your office, Kristin.
Actually, yeah, no, I think the shadow is strong enough to cause harm.
Well,
luckily my wife is on tour. My cats are inside the other house, so I'm safe. We're all safe. Let's hear the what is said right after this, because the exchange continues.
That's how you killed Gail Ann Lambert?
Wasn't me. Gail Ann was my colleague. The night after the accident, I went to see her. I was just standing in the doorway. I was looking right at her. And then she was gone.
You have no control over it?
If I could control it, do you think I would let it go around killing people? All I can do is study it. Try and divine its true nature before they do.
They?
The government. They're after me. And when they find me, they're going to do the brain suck they've just been dying to do.
Couple of things.
Mulder is like, you have my attention.
Yeah. Here's a couple of questions. Jenny, until you make me a fucking jingle to tell me not to ask questions, I'm just gonna keep asking them.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
When they find me, they're going to do the brain suck. I feel as though Dr. Banton has used just a moment ago he was saying splits molecules into component atoms, unzips electrons, reduces matter into pure energy. Brain suck? I feel like there's probably a scientific phrase that he would have used to describe what the government is gonna.
Yeah, it does seem a little lowbrow.
Do to him. And then also, I know that Mulder shot the lights out, but I don't know that I would be so cavalier about saying the government is after me to 2 FBI agents. Like, they are the government, sir.
Oh, yeah.
And like,
but they're like, we're not like other government.
Yeah, that's their whole, honestly, that's the subtitle. The X-Files, we're not like other government.
Oh my God. One other chilling element here is like he doesn't know what will happen if he dies. Will his shadow stop doing this?
Nobody
terrifying. Knows. Yeah. Okay, but then here comes Agent Ryan kicking them out, being like, don't know her. It really makes you miss Phoebe Green in terms of their exes, doesn't it?
Honestly, Kelly is Just absolutely, this looks like nothing to me. And I think that her superior, this officer who's her boss,
Baron.
I think he wins smuggest bitch, but I'm happy to take counterpoints. No one seems to be able to recall inviting the FBI. Who brought you in? I hope you're not trying to interrogate me, Mr. Mulder. He comes in so hot. And we learn in the exchange that they're transferring. This is also like a commentary on the police. They're transferring Dr. Banton to prison, and Mulder is like, you don't understand the significance of like what he's doing. He doesn't belong in prison. He, at the very least, belongs in a place where he can be like cared for mentally. And that doesn't really happen. So, they're going to bring him to jail. Cool.
No.
Kelly looks directly at them and is like, we won't be needing you anymore. Thank you very much.
Dude.
And I'm like, ouch.
Fuck that. Pardon my French.
Americans take about 20,000 breaths a day and spend an average of 90% of their time indoors. Get outside, you guys. But when you're inside, you should know that the indoor air that we breathe can be up to 100 times more polluted than outdoor air, according to the EPA. Indoor air pollutants can cause respiratory symptoms like sneezing and congestion, a scratchy throat, and even more serious health problems like lung and heart disease. Jenny, what are we going to do?
Fear not, Kristin. Introducing Air Doctor, the air purifier that filters out 99.99% of dangerous contaminants, so your lungs don't have to. This includes allergens, pollen, pet dander, dust mites, mold spores, and even bacteria and viruses.
Okay, great. Thank God, because really the first part of that had me very worried.
I know.
Air Doctor comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you don't love it, you just send it back for a refund minus the shipping. You just head to airdoctorpro.com and use promo code eX-Files Rewatch. That's with the E. eX-Files Rewatch. You'll get up to $300 off of their air purifiers.
Exclusive to podcast customers, you'll also receive a free 3-year warranty on any unit, which is an additional $84 value. Lock this special offer by going to airdoctorpro.com and use promo code EXFILESREWATCH. That's X-Files Rewatch.
As a podcast network, our first priority has always been audio and the stories we're able to share with you. But at Realm, we also sell some pretty cool merch, and organizing that was made both possible and easy with Shopify. When you think about successful businesses like Aloe or Allbirds or Skims, an often overlooked secret is the business behind the business that makes selling and, for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. That's because nobody does selling better than Shopify. It's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret that's definitely worth talking about is that Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%. That's more happy customers and way more sales going. If you're hoping to grow your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm.
Welcome to Sagas of Sundry Goblin Mode. It's a brand new fantasy series that uses tabletop role-playing games to tell an ever-evolving story. Goblin Mode follows a group of underdogs. Okay, more like underlings, who suddenly find themselves the masters of their own destiny. The adventure begins September 9th. Join Geek and Sundry and Realm for Sagas of Sundry Goblin Mode. Listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Mulder whispers to Kelly as he leaves, he needs soft light.
Soft light.
And then let's hear this exchange. We can hear this exchange and cap it with the patriarchy jingle because I think it does exactly that.
Hope you know what you're doing, Scully.
What do you mean?
Putting Detective Ryan's ambition ahead of all good sense in this case.
Ambition. She's a woman trying to survive the boys' club, Mulder. Believe me, I know how she feels.
The difference is you never put yourself ahead of your work, and that's what's happening here.
Look, the fact is we have no jurisdiction here. We were called in as a favor.
And as a favor, we just handed over the A-bomb to the Boy Scouts.
The patriarchy!
That's a complicated patriarchy jingle, Jenny, because I agree that obviously it's a very different situation to be a woman in the FBI in this year, 2024, and certainly in the year 1995. You got to do a lot of shit that you probably wouldn't have to do if you were a dude. But I also concur with Mulder's point that, like, right now, like, if Scully were in Kelly's position, she would not necessarily be protecting her own ass at the cost of fill in the blank.
She might in fact be deliberately leaving her weapon way across the other side of her apartment in order to endanger herself repeatedly.
She might be like, oh no, I hope the shadow doesn't get me. Let me go home and hide there. She thinks that there's some of Scully, and I understand Scully has to be written as the character who, like, believes in the government and, like, whatever. But, like, since we've been on this ride for 47 episodes, the character saying, like, I'm sure every necessary precaution will be taken. It's like, it doesn't.
Based on what?
Based on literally nothing you've seen for the last 46 episodes. Like, and Scully is smart. So there's no way that, sure, they're going to take him to prison, but they're going to make sure that his cell has soft light. In what world? In what fucking world? Mulder says, don't worry. He knows what to do. Beep, boop, 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 boop.
He calls his friend
Mr. X.
Frenemy.
We are going to have LaToya here with us in the final scene between Mr. X and Mulder. So most of the deep digs that we'll do into this character and this duo and all else will happen when we talk to LaToya in her lair. I heard that LaToya actually only has soft light in her lair, so we'll all be safe there.
I mean, thank God.
But at least for now, we'll take you through the beats of what gets us through these scenes with Mr. X.
I think LaToya would want us to note that Mulder says he believes the government is out to get him, and X says, it's tax season, so do most Americans. And then LaToya would say, X has got jokes. You know?
Uh-huh. Yeah, that sounds right. Mulder tells X, are we really on this level with X where, like, exactly what's happening and where this guy is being held? Are we really? You can trust me, he says. What? Like, I just don't understand how we've gotten here. Maybe LaToya will have some thoughts. Mr. X is essentially like, go fuck yourself. Don't fucking call me unless it's absolutely necessary. If I was Mulder...
He loves to say that. Wait, have we already talked about how X has clearly been reading The Game?
That sounds familiar.
He's always like, I won't help you. You're a stupid idiot.
Yeah.
Never call me again.
Keeps showing up.
And then he, like, shows up at Mulder's apartment.
Yeah. But that's the thing, like, I think if I were Mulder at this point, brilliant profiler that he is, I would be asking myself, why would he have shown up at my request just to tell me to stop calling him? Like, it doesn't
seem like a lot of effort.
They're in, like, fucking Arkansas. Where are they? I don't even know where they are.
I think they're in Richmond.
Oh, they're in Richmond. Next episode. That's why I can't watch ahead. I'm all sorts of confused. Okay, so... Then Mr. X, I'm so sorry, but he is so dramatic in this fucking scene. He powers down the lights to the psych ward, okay? So fine, I guess. But then he, like, hangs up the phone when the girl is talking. Like, just let her finish the call. The power went out. She's not calling for help. She's just like, shit. Hey, Dave, did the power go out for you? Then he takes his flashlight and probably causes corneal damage. He shines it directly into her fucking face. And is
Do we count this as flashlights on the abacus?
I think it has to be held by Mulder or Scully.
Okay. Yeah.
But I mean, this is like flashlight as a weapon, and due to the power outage, there's been a change of plans. This doesn't even make any sense. Like either you're going in forcefully and you're not giving reasons, or you're going in and you're trying to give reasons.
Also, the power went out like 30 seconds ago.
Yeah, like I just. So the two like guys with him duct tape Banton's mouth shut, and they go to take him, except for the lights come back on. Uh-oh. Zap.
Yeah, all the lackeys go skirp.
X then is like, fuck.
Banton kind of like waggles his shadow at X. And X, I'm delighted to see X visibly afraid for the first and possibly last time.
Banton is like, you do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around.
Oh, and this also made me wonder, how long ago did X and Skinner get into their little wrestling match? Because
probably 3 episodes ago, a couple episodes ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. X's face is like fully healed. I guess that's when he bloodied his fist and exposed his identity to associates of Mulder's.
Yes, yeah, I think he's had time to heal. And
okay.
I do really like this moment with Mr. X because and LaToya, talk to us when you get here. I mean, when we get there to your lair. But like I feel like he's written so one note so often, and the actor gives us this moment where, you know, he knows the shadow is deadly. He knows that he must also know that like killing this guy is not an option, right? They want to study him. They want to, whatever they don't know, it will happen with the shadow. So he like knows he's outdone. He's been bested. And the way that he looks at Banton, it's just like there's depth and like, there's just something there that I really wish that this actor was given more for. We'll save it for the lair.
Yeah.
Okay. The next day, the decision, who directed this episode?
James A. Contner.
James A. Contner, so good at doing things. The decision to have Kelly cross paths with Mulder for like a half a second just so Kelly can glare at him like he is a piece of fucking shit on the bottom of her shoe is amazing.
She's in trouble. Also, these like great like angled up shots of Scully and Mulder here as they talk look awesome. Feel exactly how you want them to feel. A little
Mulder giving us an important mantra to live by. Just because you're paranoid doesn't mean the government isn't coming to get you.
Thanks, Mulder.
Solid. So Mulder sorts out what I think, Kelly sorts it out too because she winds up there too. He's going to go to the one place where he can control this. He's going to go to the lab. Don't ask questions, Kristin. Why didn't he go there before, though? No, there's no answer.
Simply none of your business.
I get. Okay, so we're in the lab.
Okay, Chris is about to turn the lights on, and Banton from the shadows is like, "Don't turn on the lights."
You mean from
unless you want to die
from the no shadows?
From the no shadows.
He's like, we have to destroy this before they get here. Kelly comes in. He says a lot of people are going to die if you do this. I don't want to hurt you. And she's like, get against the fucking wall. She is like not caring, not wavering.
And then,
this is his one intentional murder. And he is making the choice. You know, when like you're driving a train and there's somebody strapped to the train tracks, but like you have to decide if you're going to stop the train for them or...
Oh, yeah, the trolley problem?
Yeah, the trolley problem. Is this a trolley problem? I don't actually remember what the trolley problem is.
Yeah, this is like a trolley problem.
Yeah, it's like if she comes forward, first of all, she's probably going to hit his shadow anyway. And if she doesn't, he's going to wind up killing a whole bunch of fucking people and or getting taken by the government to probably kill a bunch of fucking people in a weaponized way or so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But it's a bummer end for Like, yeah, Kelly was being kind of a bitch. But it's a bummer end for like a young female agent who Scully taught, who was with us for like one episode. It just sucks that she had to be killed off. I don't love it.
Yeah, when Phoebe Green is out there still roaming the countryside.
Right? I guess it's probably because
examining
Phoebe Green
pipe
could
problems.
Fuck, you know, like if you have a woman on a show who can fuck, like you don't kill her. But like Kelly is obviously here for business purposes.
Kelly has obviously never fucked.
Never fucked. She doesn't fuck. She's a detective.
She's too busy with her studies and her detective work.
Dr. Davy is like, oh, damn. Like, he knew what he was doing, but he also, like, didn't witness it until this moment.
Yeah, he's like, gulp.
So they go into the particle accelerator. Does anyone in our listenership work with a particle accelerator? It just seems like the coolest thing in the entire world. So I don't know. I don't have a question. I just want to know who you are. I think you're cool. Chris locks him in the particle accelerator, and let's hear this exchange. LaToya, in her notes, writes the iconic "You son of a bitch" from Banton. So let's hear what gets us there, and let's hear that as well.
All right, let's get the accelerator online.
I'm afraid not, Chester.
You can do it, Chris.
I can, but I'm not.
No, Chris. Tell me you're not working for them.
Wish I could, Chester.
You son of a bitch!
Chris is like, beep, boop, 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 and then is shot in the back of the head. Is he shot or is he, like, tranked? Like, because he's...
I don't know.
I think he's alive in the shot when we later find out, like, he was the person put in the accelerator. So I feel like maybe...
Well...
I guess it doesn't really matter. He's dead.
Yeah, I feel like
one way or
the only thing, if you're Chester Banton here, the only thing you want to see less through that hole than Christopher Davy betraying you, stabbing you in the back, and preparing your electrons to unzip or whatever, is fucking X squinting at you disdainfully. He's like, it's payback time.
You know, part of the math that I can't really figure out, because later when poor Banton is being experimented on, there's a guy there that says, like, you know, Dr. Davy would have been like a huge help to have in this. Because at first I thought like, oh, they're working for different people. You know, like Dr. Davy was working for some branch of the government that wanted him, but then, you know, the Mr. X branch wanted him more and they were in opposition. But that doesn't make any sense given so if they were all like trying to do the same thing to Banton, trying to get Banton to the same place, why did X need to get rid of? Oh, because he needed a body for the room so that it would look like Banton was gone. Okay. Thank you for journeying through that with me. You know?
There we go.
Okay.
Also, too bad that Mulder and Scully can't say enhance to the screen when they're like looking at a man, the rough shape of a man in the particle accelerator chamber.
Yeah. It does really look like Tony Shalhoub in the clip, you know? I wouldn't have thought to enhance it. It looks like him, but Scully has like a very somber moment with the burn mark formerly known as Kelly. And I write in my notes, #women in STEM, you know? There's something there. It's just like, it's a rough road. It's hard. You could wind up simply a black hole if you...
She definitely is looking at that unzip mark like, this looks familiar. There's something about this burn mark.
This burn mark looks like, you know how in Yellow Jackets, Misty is like, is it a girl poo or a boy poo? And
ew,
Travis is like, that is not a thing. It's like that. She's like, this burn mark looks feminine in a way. Jenny, you're going to have to live through just like the occasional utterance of the word poop. Like just once in a while, like you have to be able to withstand it.
So anyway, Mulder is pissed, and we're going to talk about it with LaToya.
But also, Jenny, before we go into the lair, I would like to say the first thing Mulder does when he fucking gets there is try to open the door to the particle accelerator. And I just feel like maybe give it a minute. Like, who just fucking busts open the particle accelerator door?
One man and one man only has what it takes to bust into the particle accelerator.
Maybe there's some dark matter still left for me.
Yeah, he's like in there, like running his finger on like all of the corners of the surfaces and then like rubbing that into his gums, like dark matter.
He has a straw like through the crack of the door, just like sucking in the particle. Okay. So now, knock, knock, knock. LaToya, can we come in?
LaToya's lair, LaToya's lair. Hear the whisper, Mom, I'm scared. You can enter if you dare. Welcome to LaToya's lair.
LaToya, it's looking beautiful in your lair. Sparkly,
Love
shiny,
what you've done with the lair.
gilded in gold.
Is that what it looks like? Is that what you're seeing?
Oh, yeah. Should we adjust our screens?
From now on, I should have like a Zoom background for the layer that is just...
Oh, yes. So
it's like Scrooge McDuck's pool of money.
Yes, yes, yes.
Except you don't let us dive into it. You know, like it's all Jenny and I want is to dive into it.
Well, no, you can try, but unlike Scrooge McDuck, you can't swim, so you're just landing on gold at first.
It's actually gold instead of the liquefied gold.
It's like a Wile E. Coyote gag, basically.
We've missed you, LaToya, so much.
Good.
As I planned.
Mm-hmm.
Beg me to come back, why don't you?
That's what they did. That's how it happened. They begged me, listeners. They begged me.
We've been begging for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Please, LaToya, we need your lair.
Mulder is so mad. We thought it would be a great time to bring you into the fold when Mulder's losing his fucking shit.
I'd be mad too if my hair looked like that.
So LaToya, Mr. X is
Mr. X,
a character on this television show, and we've talked a lot.
Is he?
Well, right.
Well, yeah, character is a strong word.
So I think let's let you say some of your thoughts on Mr. X, because we've sort of ruminated and brought some of your thoughts in to the conversation, but you're here now, so you can tell us what you're thinking about the character in general, but also if you want to talk about the scene, you are more than welcome to.
So my general thesis, and this has been how I felt for quite a while so far this season, but I think this episode, Soft Light, was the episode that really made me realize I could hold my tongue no more. As you know, I'm always holding my tongue. In saying that X is less of a character than he is a plot device. He's basically whatever the writers need. And it's funny how the writers often, when, talking back about these episodes, essentially say just that. They don't call him a plot device, but it's like, well, we needed someone for this, so we used X. It's like, well, yeah, you can just insert and slot him into anything. Now, can't you?
Right.
That's not necessarily a good thing.
Right, because there's no character consistency. We don't get to really understand. And that was not the case. I mean, we only had Deep Throat for a handful of episodes, but that was not the case at all with Deep Throat, where it seemed very clear who he was, what his goals were, and what his vibe was.
Yeah. So I wrote in my notes that they kind of use X as a catch-all plot device instead of course, an actual character. And to really not give into good faith, I call him essentially a conspiracy theory version of a magical Negro, essentially, is what they're doing here. And part of it is, when I was doing my research for this episode, there was discussion about how X hadn't really grown at this point in the season. And this is episode 23 of season 2. So whose fault is it that X hasn't really grown by this point in the season? Who, for example, could possibly be writing growth? Could it be a team of writers?
A team of writers? You're saying, so what you're suggesting is that characters in shows can't actually grow on their own. They don't have somebody
autonomy?
To write those words on the page. Yeah.
Yeah. Stephen Williams actually doesn't improv all of his lines. That is a script he's handed.
Shocking. You heard it here first from LaToya Ferguson.
We've really got to get the word out about this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's also the fact that Frank Spotniks, who I was quoting specifically for this, part of it was he needed to grow, which, okay, sure. But then also in this episode, they wanted to hone in on, X's ruthlessness and dedication to his own agenda, which I feel like we already knew about by this point.
That's not news.
I feel like they keep hitting that beat. You know?
They keep having him say that about himself, actually, and then also contradict that in his actions. I mean, the thing
but he also shot a person in cold blood, like point blank in front of Mulder. So,
Right. And I'm not saying he's not ruthless. I'm just saying, like, the thing that drives me maybe the craziest about Mr. X is that he keeps saying, like, I'm not going to do this anymore until this.
And then he does it.
But then he shows up. He keeps showing up. Why are you showing up if you don't?
He keeps bailing out Mulder.
Yeah. Maybe he has a little crush or something. I don't know.
That's another layer. Mulder not realizing he's in the FBI. How dare you be the FBI? But I mean, you're part of it.
Well, I mean, LaToya, as a television writer, as a fucking great writer overall, would you have do you have notes that you would give to Mr. X? Would you have used Mr. X in a particular way, or is it just like pick away and fucking stick with it?
I think pick away and stick with it. Especially, I brought up him shooting a man right in front of Mulder. I think that was an episode where I really at first wanted to talk about this too, where it's just like they're really. It's not just that he's a plot device, but again, it's like the contrast of the mean X versus the nice white daddy deep throat. Essentially, totally. It's like. Because the whole show's ethos is, of course, trust no one except for, Mulder and Scully trusting each other. But so a secret source being cuddly shouldn't matter at all. And yet every time X is not cuddly, Mulder is having the biggest crisis of faith for some reason, despite, again, this man telling him this over and over and over again.
Yeah. And I feel like, with Deep Throat. Oh, sorry. Yes, Jenny. Jenny's raising her hand.
Maybe if Mr. X could get together like a nice little slideshow and like one manila folder that was very thick, that was just full of one mantra, just like 100 pieces of paper, and each of them has one thing printed on them, and it's just I'm not your daddy.
Yeah, of course.
I'm ruthlessly dedicated to my own ends. And then if he just sort of thwapped that down on a desk in front of Mulder and said, ever heard of I am ruthlessly devoted to my own ends, Mulder?
I feel like he is doing that. But maybe the visual will help. And to fully answer your question, Kristin, in terms of like as a writer, what would I do?
Yeah.
I feel like despite, them creating this relationship with X and Mulder, in theory, X is like he's in complete contrast to what cigarette smoking man is up to. We should know that. We should know that they're versus each other. Yes, he gets into a fist fight with Skinner, and that's hot. But like technically, they're not versus each other.
Right.
X is versus who are the actual bad guys. X is not the bad guy, despite the fact that he's a mean man.
Yeah. No. And that's kind of what I was going to say too, is that, again, I don't know the episode count of how much Deep Throat we got, but to your point of the like, that we have this like nice white guy who got killed. Oh no. And he was just trying to help us, blah, blah, blah. We've had X for a while now, and we've gotten we got a full backstory. We saw Deep Throat tell us about how he felt about having to like kill an alien, and we got to feel feelings about Deep Throat on some level and empathize and understand his positioning. And to my knowledge and to my memory, we've gotten absolutely nothing on X, why he's doing what he's doing, what he's even doing. I mean, he's against the bad guys, but like this episode still.
But yeah, he's kind of for them. He's pretty for them. In this
the whole episode ends and he's in this situation where it looks like he's supporting this man being fucking tortured. So it's super unclear and not to put words in your mouth, but it just feels super unfair to this character to not give us any depth the way that we got with Deep Throat.
And on a very like granular level, if we're not going to bring it into just like, oh, so he's mystical Negro as compared to, the white character who gets to be fleshed out. It's also just the possibility that the writers were possibly afraid to like give him more because then the actor might want more and might become too big for their britches. Like allegedly, Deep Throat did, and that's why he was allegedly killed off.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. So, there's talk of like that was the natural conclusion for the story. And then there's also like the story of like Jerry Hardin maybe thought he was king shit and wanted more money.
Wow.
And thought that Deep Throat was integral to the show. That's also a thing.
Wow. Well, that's interesting. I didn't know that backstory lore,
yes.
which I'm sure is probably not even that difficult to find.
What I would really love is a scene where Mr. X goes home to his wife and is just like, oh, babe, I have had such a day.
This white boy with duckling hair keeps talking to me.
First of all, that. Second of all, I had to watch a man whose shadow has been turned into essentially a black hole be tortured, and I am a party to it. And here is how I feel about that. Like, I would just love to know something.
This is worse than the day I got into a fist fight with the deputy director of the FBI.
Seriously.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we could also get that scene, and she's like got a stake for his eye. I know that like that probably desire flies in the face of the show, even if he was being written in a more like in a way that made more sense and had more depth. Like, we're not supposed to like, no, he's
Yeah, I understand keeping him mysterious, but like at least keep him consistent and make him, you can be mysterious and still be a character, as again you pointed out with Deep Throat.
Right. We can still have like wonder, but is he to be trusted? Is he like that could exist at the same time as us having something to hold on to?
Because I think the assumption is that he's not working with cigarette smoking member. We at least know that.
Right. He's like a party to his own mission. At least it seems. He's not working for anyone, but
unless he is working with cigarette smoking man, or like sort of the umbrella of cigarette smoking man, as a front.
Right.
You know what I mean?
As a mole.
Yes.
Do you think that we'll be getting a lot more of Mr. X in the final 2 episodes of this season or the 3rd season of this show?
I think X might be back. I don't know if they'll make him better. They'll probably blow him up. They're probably going to kill him off too, honestly.
Oh,
yeah, I'm thinking car bomb.
Car bomb. Oh, wow. So 90210,
Dylan McKay's dad had to go. Or did he?
What if instead of blowing up his car, he gets into his car one day to find a cassette on his dashboard, and he puts it in the player, and a woman with an English accent is like, ever heard of a
no thank you
pipe?
LaToya put her headphones down and left the room. She's gone.
I would rather a dashboard confessional than that.
Also, like, just to bring it into the scene for a second, I think it's already frustrating that Mr. X is given lines to say he's not interested in doing this, but then is given directions on the page to continue doing this. But I think it's even more ridiculous that we get this scene and then it's Mulder who's like, and now I'm done with you. Like, after
you can't break up with me, I'm breaking up with you.
Yeah. And 5 minutes later, it puts an X on his window next to his bed, which is his couch.
Yeah. Thank you.
I don't know. Is it?
It is.
It 100%
and I
is.
Both say that it is. Therefore, it is. Yeah.
Spoilers for the rest of the season. It is.
It is. Regardless of the, if we find out that Mulder has 6 bedrooms each with its own bed, that couch is still his motherfucking bed.
Because he is a rich boy from the vineyard.
Yeah.
So possession is 9/10 of the law. Sleeping location is 9/10 of what is your bed.
Oh, Jesus. I would like to slam the play button on the white supremacy jingle in this segment in your lair, if I may, given the fucking dissonance between Deep Throat and Mr. X.
I want to hear it. I want to hear that slam.
Okay.
You know what that sounds like to me? White supremacy. Woven in not too subtly. White supremacy. Open your eyes and that's where you'll find it. Crush that white supremacy.
LaToya, since this is, I mean, we're ending the second season. We're rounding the bend. We've got 2 episodes left, and we have the privilege of being here in your lair. Is there anything else that you'd like to bring to the X-Files table?
Are you mad at us for making you watch this show?
Yes, I was about to ask, why are you making me watch the spooky show? What the hell? What is this?
Well, don't worry. Two things to look forward to, at least in my half glass full viewpoint. One is everyone seems to really, really love season 3.
That's what they keep saying.
That's what they keep saying, LaToya. So
I bet it's gonna be scarier. It's gonna be scarier, and I'm gonna hate them all. I'm gonna put you all on notice. I just know it.
But for you, and only for you, we have now also added a spoonful of sugar in the form of Buffy to alternate
Helps
your
the
weeks
medicine
of
go
X-Files.
down, baby.
Yeah, make that X-Files medicine go down with a spoonful of
Finally,
Buffy
a show
sugar.
I want to rewatch an episode after I watch it, as opposed to being like, never make me watch it again. I hate you.
Truly, X-Files holds the only episode of television that I've ever not watched a second time for a podcast, which was F Emasculata, and absolutely not. No.
Even when Buffy gave me some creeps, nothing was fluky. Nothing was fluking at me.
Look, there are scary times ahead, but there are also like some really fun times ahead. I feel like legs are going to get stretched. Experiments are going to be conducted. It's going to be a good time. You want us to get the fuck out of your lair?
We're going to get the fuck out of your lair. LaToya, we love you very much.
It can't be overstated.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're very welcome.
LaToya's lair, LaToya's lair. Hear the whisper, Mom, I'm scared. You can enter if you dare. Welcome to LaToya's lair.
Okay.
She's so cool. She knows all.
Yeah. LaToya, thank you for letting us enter your lair. And now, of course, we'll do the only thing left to do, which is go to Kelly's funeral.
She was but 30.
But 30? Me and LaToya had the same response. I was like, 30 years old? Fucking Scully isn't even 30 years old. Why did they... Yeah. What? Yeah. I like had that moment, and then I got into LaToya's notes, and she had also screamed the same thing. I couldn't believe when it was like 65 to 95. I like did the math like 5 times. I'm like, wait, what? Yeah, so I feel like there's like a story from the props department where they said to put like 75, and then, you know what I mean? They were like, oh, fuck. Well, she wasn't supposed to be 30, but oh well. Who will notice? What do you think they said to explain her that she's dead? Because she just is gone. There's no... Don't ask questions.
Don't ask questions.
You know what needs some questions is Mulder's choice.
Mulder's sunglasses?
Sunglasses. Yeah. Show me a side-by-side of Mulder in these sunglasses and Buffy Summers in her season 1 fucking trench coat sunglasses, please.
Yeah,
please, please.
there's also like there's a sort of like a Matrixy quality to them, and also like I want to say like Hellraiser or something.
Yeah, I could see that.
Oh my God.
Scully is like this, they're giving Scully like a tiny little corner of the show to feel incredibly upset about the fact that her student who asked for her help is now dead. And she's like, this shouldn't have happened. And Mulder is like, so anyway.
Oh my God.
God damn it, Mulder. Dr. Morris West, this is Morris from the beginning, reported that Dr. Davy is missing. What if Banton wasn't the guy in the chair? Then where is Banton? Oh, no. He's in that room from the television series Lost.
Yeah, this sucks.
This is bad. This is awful. And we haven't seen this like actualized yet in the show. Like we've heard all of the things that the government is doing or has done, but I don't think, unless I'm forgetting something, like I don't think that we've seen them in practice actually experimenting on human beings like with our eyeballs. It feels jarring in a way that makes me feel like it's like the first time.
Yeah, I hate it.
There's just one tear that rolls down Banton's face as our last shot, as the light is like flashing on him, and X is there, which is, really troubling. And this other doctor is there from the lab, and yuck.
Yeah, it's bad. Unsubscribe. Not to the pod, just to human experimentation.
Yeah. An animal experimentation, for that matter.
Oh,
no
yes.
experiments. This is an anti-experiment podcast.
We are a podcast calling for the end to all experiments.
Every scientist in our listenership unsubscribes in one fell swoop.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Stay with us. We know experiments are important. Variable control factors. They're great.
Hypothesis. Yeah. Results.
To the third
conclusion.
Beaker. Yeah.
Erlenmeyer flask, if you will. Okay.
All right. Well,
so
I think that we've done most of it.
What about? Okay. Is there any sexual tension in this episode? I feel like.
Well, the electrons were unzipped, so
yeah, but that's like less tension and more just sort of like
what about Dr. Banton and the need to feel the physicality of the dark matter that was once only a theory?
Yeah, but I mean, could anything in this episode conceivably compete with that, or should we just give it to them?
I think they just get it, unless you had something in mind.
No, Chester Banton and dark matter.
Yeah, they
for the win.
They earned it.
Okay, and then who's the smuggest bitch of this episode? Is it Detective Barron?
Detective Barron, is that Kelly's boss?
Yes.
That's who I think the smuggest bitch is. I mean, arguments could be made for Mr. X. Arguments could be made.
Oh my gosh.
You know, there's a lot of smug and a lot
Oh, also, yeah, Christopher Davey, just in the very brief moment where he's like, it was me all along.
He threw the, like, do you get bonus points if you're being a smug bitch in a circle? Yeah.
I think that you do.
Yeah.
But because that is just a fraction of his screen time, I think that kind of like, it like is diffused, you know, it's like watered down or whatever. However, all of Barron's screen time is him just like giving it to Mulder. And therefore, I think it's his.
Great. Congratulations.
Wow.
Detective Barron.
And congratulations to all of us for making it through yet another episode of the X-Files. Wouldn't you say, Kristin?
I would say. I'm having about 2 to go. What? That's the name of a Buffy episode. I was like, that's the name of a television show I've watched with deep intensity. Is it Buffy, Fallout, Yellow Jackets, X-Files? 2 to go in the season.
Wow.
It's going to be a fun ride, or not at all. Get ready to go to the chicken factory. Okay.
Well, speaking of chicken factories, I'm Jenny Owen Youngs. And when I'm not watching the X-Files or Buffy, I'm usually making music. My last record, Avalanche, which came out in 2023, is getting a deluxe release on November 22nd, which, no offense, is my birthday.
Wow, I've heard of it. That's the day that you turn the same age as me, actually.
Exactly, for a very, very brief moment.
And one might say an avalanche of good feelings for Kristin Russo.
Yep, that's always what I say. You can pre-save the deluxe edition now. You can hear the first couple songs that have been released from it. It's going to have 10 frigging bonus tracks, just 10 regular tracks, 10 bonus tracks, no stone left unturned.
Wow.
You can learn more at jennyowenyoungs.com or find me on socials at Jenny Owen Youngs.
I am Kristin Russo, and when I'm not thinking about the wonderful time of year that I call Jenny and I are both the same age, or talking about the X-Files or many other television shows, I'm working with and for LGBTQ communities. You can find me and my work at KristinNoeline.com. That's KristinNoeline. And you can use that spelling to find me on socials.
Kristin, I feel like you could workshop the name of this holiday if you're really going to go to all this trouble to celebrate it. Maybe it's Same Age Miss. Maybe it's Jenny is as old as me, Owen.
Yeah. How does it feel, Jenny Miss? What do you have to say for yourself now, old lady day?
Whoa.
Yeah. I'll workshop.
Buffering a Rewatch Adventure is on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at BufferingCast. You can email us at hello@bufferingcast.com or write to the Crystal Ball at crystalball@bufferingcast.com.
You can support us and our work on our Patreon page. It is the best way to support us. Patreon.com/bufferingcast. We have a lot going on over there. We're in the middle of Smug Bitch Autumn. We just watched Casper and Scream 5. And we've got some other really fun movie watches coming around the bend. Plus, in case you missed it and you only listen to the X-Files and nothing else, we are coming back with coverage of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Wait, but guys, you already did that. Yeah, we're doing it again because we are out of our minds and we love it. And so do you. So, if you want to throw us a couple dollars for all of the Herculean efforts we were about to display for you all, we would love it. It would be so nice.
Oh, yeah. We're going down, down, down the pod. Down the Buffy pod.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dibs on the Green Witch.
Sounds like your funeral. This episode was produced by Kristin Russo, Jenny Owen Youngs, and LaToya Ferguson with support from our consultant, Mackenzie McDade. It was edited by John Mark Nelson. Until next time, the status of this X-File is perfectly calm. Almost like it wanted this to happen. Like it was finally going to experience the dark matter it had theorized in some kind of physical way, as if the truth might come into it.
Whoa, none of my business.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey, y'all. I'm JJ.
Hey, guys. It's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast. We bring on guests to share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to speak of them or talk about them or in any way portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. It would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
Listening to a podcast should be time well spent, and I promise it will be if you'll give this podcast a try. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in every episode, I talk with leading experts on topics I know you will find fascinating. From why people can't keep secrets, what your favorite music says about you, why your pet acts in strange ways, and so much more. Something You Should Know is designed to give you information you can use in your life and give you great intel that you can share with others. I'm told it's a binge-worthy podcast. And with over 1,000 episodes, there's a lot to binge on. Something You Should Know has been ranked in the top of the Apple Podcast charts consistently for a long time. I know you're going to like this. I just need to get you to try it. Something You Should Know. It's available wherever you listen to podcasts.